Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. Helping our people get their finances in shape. We try to provide information, stuff that you can use, stuff that you can apply to your real life, everyday situations. We're here every Thursday at the wonderful time of 8 p.m. and Eastern Standard Time. So hello to all the people around the country and around the world. How are you doing today, Thomas Doty?
I am happy to be alive, my brother.
Oh, that is so good to hear that. Excuse me. This weather, man, it's been chilly here. So cold. I saw Superman in an Uber. He ain't even flying around. So just want to give a few things, remind everybody, please understand that we are not financial advisors. We are not registered financial advisors, qualified financial advisors. We are instructors, financial education, financial information instructors. So we try to provide you with information you can use. We don't do personal financial planning. So take the things we talk about. If you want to know specifically how they apply to your situation, you might need to look at your situation closely. Or, go and engage in a financial advisor or talk to somebody that actually knows some things. But we're not financial advisors and qualified financial advisors. Just want to make that point so that you do understand that. To make this an interactive show, we are in a virtual studio, but you can reach out to us through the comment box if you have any opinions, comments about things we talked about, questions, or you have some ideas of some other particular topics you'd like for us to cover, or something came across you this past week and you just have a question about it. Obviously, if we have the answer to it, we answer. But if it's not, we definitely will get back to you. But most of the time, most of the things we're pretty good between me and Dote as far as having an understanding of what's out there. So please use the comment box. And also remember, once you use the comment box, the other thing is to click on the like button and the heart button, because that actually exposes us to more people and it gets our word out. So make sure you share on Facebook Live with other people. And for the people who are out on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and ask other people to subscribe. Our viewership has been picking up. We're so thankful. We do appreciate that. So, Dope, start with the top of our show. The main topic that kicks us off is the stock market. So what good news, and I'm trying to connect the Dote, and I got my fingers crossed that this works. What good news do you have for us today? Yes.
No real good news today. It's you can see from the week, it's been kind of just treading water. The market's been pretty flat. It was actually up a little bit until today. Walmart announced earnings, and this was one of the first times in 3 years that they had a year-to-year quarterly decrease in sales, and their stock actually dropped 6.5% today, almost 7%, and it had a big effect on the Dow. The Dow was down. The overall market was down big today. But you can see for the week, it's pretty much flat. I've done okay as far as stocks I own. Microsoft's up 5, Apple's up 4, Nvidia's up 5. That's kind of my big 3. Google's down 1. Pfizer's flat. my Palantir had a big drop, and that came on some noise about the fact that the government may cut defense spending, and that's where a lot of their AI, where their artificial intelligence is going towards defense spending. But I think that's just short-term thinking. I think nobody really knows what's going to happen with this current administration. There's still been talk about tariffs. The market's kind of been ignoring that right now because that's expected to have an inflationary effect on the market. And so I think the market's kind of in again, like I said, treading water. You're going to see bad news come out, then the market reacts, or good news, the market reacts the other way. I don't think there's any true direction in the market. I think inflation's still around. That's kind of a little drag on things. So it's going to be, I think it's going to continue to be like this until, number one, inflation gets under control, and number two, the market has a better idea of what to expect out of this current administration. So I think until then, things are going to be a little crazy. But overall, I'm happy with what the market's doing as far as my stocks I own. That Palantir, even though it dropped a bunch, it dropped 10%. Again, I got in there at 70, so the fact that it dropped to 106 really doesn't bother me that much. I'm still up 50% on that stock, so I'm not complaining. I actually thought about buying a little bit more, but since it's such a risky play, I got a couple hundred shares in there, and that's plenty. I don't need to stick my neck in any further. And as far as the rest of the stocks I own, I'm still pretty happy with those. I think they'll do okay. Even Walmart, I think Walmart's going to be fine. I think that's one of the institutions that people look to in these inflationary times to try to get their costs under control. So all in all, I think this is just much ado about nothing. The market's up and down, and we'll see how things work as we go along.
Well, just a little thing on the economic outlook, though. The Federal Reserve, I think they plan on maybe, two more? Is it 2 more or 3 more possible cuts for the year?
Again, I think they're all possible. I don't think nothing's definite because the news keeps changing.
Right.
And so I don't, and again, the market doesn't know what's going to happen. And so that's why we don't see anything's changing in the market. Interest rates haven't really dropped that much. You can still pick up CDs for over 4%.
Yes.
We talked about that last week. If you're interested in CDs, now is the time to get one and lock it up long term. Again, I'm sure it's not callable, but I don't think, Bob, anybody knows what's going on.
Right. That's why you got to have your own plan, which we're going to be talking about today. Another thing, one thing that did move, inflation that went back up to 3%, and it's heading up, and that's going to affect the cost of goods. So that's people need to, keep an eye on things like that. And it's interesting. And we always talk about diversification, and I don't usually show a chart about that, but gold is up. And it's like at $2,954, getting ready to go over $3,000, and it's never been that high.
And I'm loving that too, because I got a little bit of money in gold and that gold stock, and it's doing well. And if anybody really looks at the stocks I own, and typically you'll see some things are up, some things are down. The I'll call them my solid stocks typically have an upward trend overall. I mean, if you look at Microsoft, I think I got in there at 200 and something. Apple probably got in there at $160, 160. Of course, NVIDIA, I got in at 17. Google, I probably got in about 120. So, everything is going up, but some things go up sometimes, some things go down. That's the benefit of diversification, that things don't move. The market doesn't move all things at the same rate. So you want to have some things that's going up when some things are going down. So, diversification that's one of the staples. You got to be diversified.
Right, because nobody knows, but the key is to balance against. If it goes up, you make out. If it goes down, you make out.
Exactly.
And I just want to remind people, though, that we're not just talking about investing in the stock market. We're talking about investing, period, whether it be stock market, maybe it be money markets, whether it be CDs, annuities, We just believe that if your money is not growing, you can possibly outlive your money. So that's why we harp, I just want to reiterate this, about a vehicle such as the stock market. And now, let me just get into cryptocurrency because we believe also that's another alternative investment. It's not for everybody, but it might be for you, especially if you have a balanced portfolio. You have some of the things we're talking about and don't have this, but cryptocurrency is up this week. It's not up much, only 1%, the whole total markets, but it's still over $3 trillion, and that's pretty good. The Bitcoin is still number one. It's up $1,938 per coin. It's up to 98,525. Now, a month ago, it was up to about 105,000, highest it's ever been, but it's down. And like we said before, this is a volatile, very risk type of investment. But like we say, it's all about a plan, and every tool, if you plan it right, it can have its place in your portfolio. Ethereum is still second, and Ripple, which came up from out of the top 10, is holding at number 3 as a cryptocurrency. Dope. There was a cryptocurrency out there called Gel Stool, right? And it went up, from like 2 cents to 21 cents. That's a big jump, by the way.
Wow.
And the people made a lot of money, right? And it's a meme coin, meaning it's like a baseball card. It's just a picture or a character that they call MEME, meme coins. But they are the riskiest of all. And dope, it dropped down to 1 cent. So that's a major drop if you had money. And that's like I said before, it's over 9,000 active cryptocurrencies. That's why you got to be careful, you all. But, people get in and they see FOMO, fear of missing out, and they see their friend made a couple of $1,000 and they just want to jump in. Be careful. All we say is make sure you know what you're dealing with. Know if it's a meme coin, know how much is out there, how much is in supply, how much is at the maximum that they're going to let out. Those are kind of things you can at least look at. And you need to know not just how to get in the platforms like, Cash App you can get in, Robinhood, so many other platforms. But some platforms you can't get out, and you have to get out on international platforms, not American platforms. So be careful. The cryptocurrency you get involved with, you got to know how to enter and know how to have an exit strategy. Just want to remind you all of that. So with that, dope, our subject today is a very interesting one. A lot of people, I'm sure, understand about financial planning, but talk us into it, though. Lead us into our topic today. Why are we talking about this particular?
Well, one of my favorite sayings is you can learn by listening or you can learn by learning. And that basically means you can talk to somebody who's been through what you're about to go through, or you can try it on your own and learn the hard way. But it's just becoming a little more difficult in these days and times because there's a lot of stuff out there. One that's totally not true. Okay, how these social media networks are actually allowing people to post things that basically are not true. And so when you think about that, there's a lot of stuff out there, and some of it's true, some of it's not. And when it comes to financial planning, the same thing exists. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of things that everybody thinks to be true, but they may not necessarily be true. Social Security is going bankrupt. That's a big one that's out there. You should always follow the 4% rule. That's another one. So those kind of things are all out there, and people believe them and think they're golden and they should follow those things. But they may work for some people, but they may not fit your particular situation. And some of those things out there may be totally untrue. So you really have to watch what you're listening to, understand that if there's information out there, make sure it fits your particular situation. Because if you get caught up into following the wrong path or listening to the wrong information, it can be costly for you and have to affect savings and you're planning for your future. You sound like you're fighting a cat or something, Bob.
It does. There's no sound here.
Maybe I was just hearing it here because it sounded like you were wrestling with a cat and the cat was winning.
I don't know what's going on your daggone side. Ain't no cat over here. But don't like I know, although people may make good financial decisions, a series of choices made without a clearly thought out plan is not a financial plan. Now, it's almost impossible to balance, retirement planning, investing cash flow, tax considerations, estate planning, or even insurance needs without a blueprint. Now, too many people think, though, that financial planning is simply about purchasing a product that will have a magic fix on their particular money problems. But in reality, financial planning is complex. And we say this all the time, don't we, about investing and having a plan. It takes work. It really takes work. And just doing your best to make, a smart choice when you're faced with a financial situation is not enough. You need a plan. And that brings us to our subject today. There are a lot of misconceptions about financial planning. And don't start with the first one.
Yeah, the first one is that 4% rule I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what that one is.
Yeah,
I know they heard that.
Yeah, that's the rule that says you take your retirement money and you withdraw 4% a year, and that means your money should last you probably 30 years. And that one's been around since the mid 90s, and a lot of people live by that. And again, you withdraw 4% of your money, you adjust for inflation, and your dollar should last you a long time. And it caught favor because it's a simple rule, it's a consistent, predictable stream of income, and it seems reasonable to a lot of folks. But the truth of the matter is that it's just a guideline. It's not a hard and fast rule. It doesn't account for an individual's particular situation and doesn't account for market fluctuations or personal spending habits, because a lot of things can happen, can make that rule not work for you. And one is too rigid, and you got other factors that could play a part in it, like taxes, fees, and you could have a big expense one year. You could have long-term care, a lot of things that could happen that can really make that rule not work for you. And the biggest myth is that somebody should follow it. It's just a rule of thumb. It's a gauge. It's not something that you should live by. And if you follow it blindly, in most cases, it's probably too conservative, and you're going to end up with a whole lot more money at the end of your life than you planned. And if you planned on leaving a lot of money, then it's probably good for you. But the truth of the matter is that you had more flexibility and you could have enjoyed yourself a little bit more by having taken out a little bit more. And so really, to get a better idea of what your retirement spending should be and how much money you should be withdrawing, there are a bunch of retirement calculators out there. And it's a matter of going through the process of figuring out what income you have, figuring out what your expenses are going to be, and using that retirement calculator to help you figure out how much of your money you should be spending each year. And then you got to take into effect when the market has a big drop or the market has a big gain, and how do you adjust to that? There's no simple way to manage your money. Everybody wants it to be simple. Everybody wants a 1 + 1 = 2 scenario. But financial planning can be complex. A lot of different things can affect it. And there's really no simple solution or no simple answer for how much money you should take out of your retirement each year.
So don't, right quick, that sort of leaves people like, because I'm asked that a lot about, well, how much should I take out? And your answer was there's no like the 4% rule is nothing but a benchmark, y'all. We always talk about benchmarks, and remember, they are always just benchmarks or measurements to go by. Rules of thumb. They're not set in play. But one of the biggest way is to just look at what your expenses are, look at what goals you have, and then the time horizons that you plan to have them in. And that usually will take you to how much money that you need to be saving and how much money you need to be spending. But the reality to the matter, though, is a lot of people be holding this in their heads. They know about financial planning, but they don't write it down.
Yeah, but Bob, I mean, you made the mistake of saying it's simple. It's simple when you do it the first time.
Right.
Things change, and things are going to constantly change. And that's why, again, there's no simple way. I wish there was just a plus ABC, but there's so many factors that affect the market, your income, your expenses, things that you can control, things that you can't control, that it makes it difficult. And so I'd like to say there's a simple way to do it, but there truly isn't. It's another one of those things you have to manage. It's constantly changing. You have to constantly adjust and make changes in order to deal with the things that are happening that you don't control.
But is it a fact, though, that a starting point is that you at least have a budget and think about some goals? I mean,
no question. No question. That's the start.
I'm going to leave you out there, but there are things that you do have control over, and we always talk about deal with those things, and there are things that we do have control over.
Yeah, and realize those things are point in time, and by that I mean you do a budget. That's what your budget is today, but you got to realize things change. Your budget amount, your expenses change, your income change. You got taxes. You got a bunch of things so you got to constantly be on top of it to account for those things that change. And that's the point I want to make.
And this is my last point I want to make on the dote is the other thing that you can do, no matter what is going on out there in the market, in the economy, in administration, you got to cut that spending out, y'all. That's one of the biggest things, first and foremost. But let me get into another. Remember, these are misconceptions. So the theory is y'all do the opposite of what we're saying in most cases. But there's a myth, though, that the Social Security is going to be bankrupt. A lot of my friends say that, and they worry because they say that, and it causes some people to panic and think they need to retire early. So that won't affect them. But the truth to the matter is, according to the surveys and the calculation, Social Security is definitely good until 2035. Now, when I say until 2035, that means it's interesting because about 2/3 of people think that the money's going to run out. That's big because a lot of people are going to be jumping out before they need to, right? Because if you jump out early, you could be losing 30% of your Social Security fund payments, right? But the fact to the matter,
maybe you explain that. You're saying jump out early. You mean start taking your money
at 62?
Yeah,
jump out of your job into retirement. Thank you, Doe. Yes, jump into and taking it early at 62. And like I said, if you start taking it at 62, you'll lose 30% of what you could have made if you went to the full age of 66 and 6 months for most people now over 1960.
Yeah, but only thing to that I'll say is it's based on those actuarial tables, and if you take it out at 62, if you knew how long you was going to live, it'd be an easy answer. But you don't. If you take it out at 62, as Bob said, it's cut by 30%. But if you're going to die at 70, then obviously you were better off taking it at 62 than waiting to 70. Get that noise again, Bob.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
You don't hear it?
No, I don't hear it.
Okay. But anyway, so you really have to analyze what's the best time for you to take it out based on your health condition, based on your financial needs. Obviously, if you don't need the money, you can stand to wait and you have other monies to draw prior to taking your Social Security, then there's probably nothing wrong with waiting. But if you need the money, then don't look at it as you're losing 30%, because even if you take it at 62, there's a break-even point, in which case, and I think we might have did this one time.
We have.
And that's just the point that says, if you live past a certain point, you would have been better to have waited to take the money out. And since you don't know when that is, it's really up in the air as far as when you should take the money out or when you should not. Now, the thing about taking it early that you have to understand is you got some tax limitations as far as how much money you can make outside of that if you take your money early and you have not reached your full retirement age. So that, again, like everything else, there's no simple answer. You have to figure out what's best for you. But those are the general parameters. If you start taking it at 62, it will go up. If you wait, every year you wait past 62, the amount you get goes up by about 8%.
That's right.
And it stops at 70. Okay. Right. And so you have to look at your own situation and say, hey, can I afford to wait? Me personally, I started taking mine at my full retirement age, which is 66. And I think my break-even point was, if I lived to be 77, then I probably should have waited. But I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it as, I'd rather have my money now. I know I'm healthy. I know I can enjoy it. I know I can spend it. And I don't know what extra money is going to do for me when I'm in my 80s. I don't think I wasn't worried about that. I'd rather enjoy it now while I'm young and still able to do what I want to do. And so that's just my thinking. And that's what worked for me. You got to figure out what works for you.
And just another statistic, with just the people who are millennials and those people, not the baby boomers, just them working alone will keep funding Social Security. But the only thing is, you might limit your benefits to only 83% to 80% that you're getting. But so they either have to do the choice for the shortfall, they either raise the revenue or they need to trim the benefits. So just wanted to let y'all know about that.
Yeah, but only thing you said Social Security is good. I think I've seen numbers as low as 2032, 2033. Not that it will run out, but that's the point where it can't continue to pay the total amount that it's paying out.
Well, I got the number the other day from Social Security Administration.
It's 2035.
It's fully funded through 2035. That's the recent. It says fully funded to 2035.
Okay, I haven't seen that anywhere. That's a surprise.
Yeah, but I got, because I've seen that number move, and I've seen 83% too. I've seen it at 80% too. But, and like we always say, though, these are always just benchmarks and measurements.
Right, it's your estimate.
Yeah, the estimate. So keep that in mind. But for you people, like if you go to if you go to
it's like somebody else is on this channel and they're making noises.
Now ain't nobody on here unless there's some ghosts out this month.
Yeah, I only see me and you.
Okay, that's all that's on here.
Okay.
I guess I don't hear.
Okay.
You've been taking any medication today? No, I'm just messing with you. So you all remember though, and when you go, if you go to what is it 70, you get 130% of Social Security, by the way. So, but that's if you want to wait that long. So on you, Dope.
The next, let's call it myth out there, is that cash is king. Okay, that's one that everybody, especially the older folks, poorer folks, always thinks in times of uncertainty, I want to have cash. I want to be in CDs. I want to. It's always safer than being in the stock market. And the truth of the matter, it's like everything else. Even if we go back to that 4% rule I talked about, that probably works for half the people and half the people who don't. That's how you have to look at it. But a lot of people say cash is king. Like everything else, it's okay to have some of your portfolio in cash. That's not a bad thing, but not all of it. If you think about your retirement lasting 30 plus years, if you're fortunate, then your assets need to continue to grow to keep the same purchasing power. And it won't grow if it's stashed under a mattress or in a checking account or saving account that's not paying a competitive rate. And it just won't keep up with inflation over a long period of time. Healthcare costs going to go up. Everything's going to go up. So you got to have money to cover it. So when it comes to saving for retirement, the biggest risk you face is not in the stock market. It's not reaching your retirement goals. And having too much in cash can prevent you from reaching your long-term goals.
So there's another financial planning myth about maximizing earnings and minimizing debt, because there's so many different thoughts about how to do that. But one of the ways to maximize your earnings is to boost your interest income with high yield savings accounts. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago. There's still time to maximize, which that is called passive income. The difference between compensation, meaning you're working for your income, but passive income you can earn on opening a high yield savings account. For example, after comparing like traditional and high yield savings accounts, you can realize earnings on an annual percentage rate of just a traditional savings account of 0.01%. Do you know what that really is? Let me show you what that looks like, you all. If you just get in a traditional savings account, where you could be in a high yield savings account. And let's look at the difference. I like to look at stuff, though, to see the difference, right? So right here, this is just showing you the difference if you had $10,000 in a high yield savings account, which is giving about 4% annual percentage rate today, and $10,000 in a traditional savings account will give you 0.01%. Most people think it's 1%, but it actually is a zero in front of that one.
Exactly, it's 0.1%.
Get mixed up, right? No, I remember my first check from when I was selling investments. I sold a $25,000 mutual fund, and they gave me $200. I said, I think y'all made a mistake here. They said, what? I said, I thought I was supposed to get 2%. They said, no, that's 0.02. So look at this chart right here, right? Just a high yielding account paying 4%, which you can get now, $10,400 versus $10,001. Then look after 3 years, and we talk about compounding is in on this, right? That 4% compounding over 3 years, $11,249. To look dope, in 3 years, $10,003. If this don't tell you, and look at 5 years, even more so, the power of compounding. Just on 4%, you all, 4%, you didn't do anything. In 5 years, you would have made $2,167, as opposed to leaving it in a traditional account, though, getting $5, man. I mean, knowledge is important. So some people say to me, but why they didn't tell me this? I said, because they don't want to be paying that. They don't want to give that to you. So anyway, that's just gives you an idea of, maximizing your earnings. Now let's talk a little bit about minimizing your debt. Now, when interest rates go down, right, which the Fed might do, which they have done lately, you can refinance your existing high interest debt. And that means, rates, when they start to slide, it's the perfect time to rethink, your existing debt, because you might be able to replace the existing loan with a new one, ideally with a lower interest rate, more favorable terms. And this is known as loan refinancing options. They're out there. Now, The Federal Reserve is considering more cuts, whether they do them or not. It's only the benchmark federal funds rate, and it lowers how much it costs to borrow across the United States, right? So whether you're considering a debt consolidation plan, which you put all your debt into one plan like a loan and get a company and you just pay one payment a month to pay those bills down. Now, a type of loan that combines multiple debts is a consolidated debt loan, but there are lower rate loans, or you can think about refinancing your mortgage, for your dream home, or waiting until the rate cut goes down before you look at a new loan, and look at something that have more manageable payments because the interest rates are down. So that's about maximize your earnings and minimizing your debt.
The next one we're going to talk about is long-term care insurance or nothing. And nobody wants to be a burden in their old age. So a lot of people look to insurance for protection, thinking it's the only option. It makes sense just in that thought that long-term care is a good way to make sure you don't have to deal with that. But it's crazy expensive, and trying to foot the bill outright is a non-starter for a lot of people. And insurance can be an option to cover some of your long-term care costs. But you also got other things. You have annuities, you have home equity loans, you got the sale of your house, and you got money that you saved are definitely alternatives to having insurance. And so you got to be open and flexible when you decide how you're going to pay for that long-term care. It could be as you're younger, before you get incapacitated, you had a huge travel budget. Well, guess what? If you're incapacitated, you won't have that travel budget anymore because you probably won't be traveling. And if you are incapacitated and have to be housed somewhere, you probably won't have your house, and you probably got it paid off. And a lot of that money can go towards your assisted living care. So, there's no one silver bullet. And long-term care insurance is crazy expensive. And it depends on how many years you require care. You may need a whole lot of coverage. And they look at some of the rates for that, they're going up tremendously. And the crazy thing about it is, as inflation changes or as they get more information, the amount of your coverage can change. A lot of people are put off by the fact that they find out they have to pay thousands of dollars more per year to keep the same coverage. And because the premiums increase based on a lot of factors that have nothing to do with you personally. And so it's one way to do it. Again, it's no simple way to say, okay, I'm gonna put X amount of dollars in a long-term care and boom, now I'm covered, because that's not how it works. That premium is going to change every year. The best way you can do it is make sure you've got money from somewhere, either your house or in savings, to cover you if for some reason you need to be incapacitated.
And that's why we talk about maximize your earnings, whether it's invested in the market, invested in bonds, investing in gold, investing in something because you don't want to outlive your money. And the old, and so long-term care is like double dutch, right? You got thinking when to jump in, because the earlier you jump in, right, the cheaper it's going to be. It makes sense, because the older you get, the more it's going to be expensive. So people are always struggling with, when should I get in? Because it's definitely cheaper, but you might be coming out of pocket now the younger you are to get it. And this is the other one, though. Long-term care plans used to be unlimited, but now most of them cut to just 6 years of coverage. And I thought, when I looked at that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Just 6 years from when, if you engage in it, that most of them might maybe 6 to maybe 8 years. And so that's why you got to make sure you maximize your earnings just in case you need that money. And majority of people who are older age, retirement, the biggest cost is medical expenses.
Yeah. And again, just understand about those long-term care insurance premiums, they are not fixed. They will change every year. And they do not go down.
No. They don't ever go down, do they, though?
Nope.
So The next one I want to talk myth about financial plans are for rich people. Now, when I was working for the Acacia Group, and we were doing financial plans. That's what people used to tell me in 1985. Man, oh, boy, that's for rich people. No, it's really for people who don't have money. Now, whether you're saving for a home or retirement, a financial plan is a blueprint to get you there. Nonetheless, many Americans, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, they don't even have a will, let alone a financial plan. And I know we talk to y'all all the time about planning and having a plan, and most people don't write it down, though. Most people don't write the plan. They try to hold it in their head. Matter of fact, Modern Wealth Survey demonstrated that only 36% of Americans have a written financial plan. I think that's pretty sad because I know a lot of my friends, they try to hold things in their head. The older, I don't know if you like me, the older you get, the more forgetful I get. Now, the truth is anybody can benefit from a financial plan, whether they do it on their own or hire a financial advisor. You know, you hire a financial advisor, there's so many ways. You got a fee-based advisor. Most of them charge a rate between $200 to $400 an hour. And sometimes they have a one-time plan for $1,000 or $3,000. There are all kinds of different financial plans that you can engage in. Now, financial planning can help you build wealth by defining your goals if you haven't really done them or need help. And it also helps you identifying the appropriate steps, to take to achieve these things. So, without a plan, you can end up doing a lot of costly mistakes that could save you and causing you a lot of emotional stress due to movements in the markets or paying more fees and taxes than you have to.
Yeah. And the next one you kind of touched on it a minute ago, Bob, is estate planning. A lot of people think that doesn't apply to them. And that's one of those things nobody likes to talk about dying.
Yeah.
I'll worry about that at some point. Not today.
Hey, Doe, talk about dying right quick. When people ask me that, I don't worry about dying because I believe I'm going to go to the great books in the sky. I'm worried about living, being all broke up and being live. But go ahead.
And so, they figure they got years to worry about that, and they'll take care of it at the appropriate time. And for others, they worry about the cost. And the numbers say only 24%, like 1 in 4 people have a will. And the truth of the matter is, we all hope we're going to live a long, helpful life, but we all know we are going to die. There's no doubt about that. So you need to have a will, even if you have limited assets. And that's things like your jewelry, antiques, items you have sentimental value. You can do it yourself will online for free, or you can pay a minimal amount between $10 and $250 to do it online, or you can hire an attorney, and it's going to cost you anywhere between $300 and $1,000. That's according to Legal Zone. But many people's default position is just, I ain't gonna worry about it. I'll let it happen as it happens. And what that does to you, if you die without a will, then the court's gonna make all the decisions for you about your property and assets. And probate proceedings can get hung up for years, depriving your heirs of assets that you intend for them. And it's way worse if you're single, because if you're married, in most cases, your assets are going to go to the surviving spouse. And that assumes you both don't die together. But if you're single, then all your stuff's going to go to probate, which is, the lawyers are going to get their cut. And so if your pie is $1,000, by the time it gets through probate, your pie is only going to be 60. You probably lose 40% of what you have in probate, paying lawyers to do what you could have done yourself. And just for clarity's sake, again, if you have an account that has beneficiaries, then that's clear cut. When you die, the beneficiaries will receive those things, and those things don't go through probate. The things that get caught up in probate are things like houses and stuff like that you don't really have a beneficiary for. And so that's where you really need to have a will and a trust. Sorry, shit. I'm not even talking about trust yet, because even if you have a will, in some cases things will go through probate. So it gets really complicated, like everything else. Sit down and talk to a lawyer and figure out what's the best way to protect what you have.
And when we say complicated, and I used to talk to my daughter about this in school, you know, where certain courses real complicated. When we say that, you know, don't shy away from it. You know, be willing to do the work, because once you get it, it becomes simple. It becomes, well, let me put it like this: it becomes less. It becomes less complicated. Let me put it that way.
Well, no, it's complicated, but it just takes work. But it's not undoable. Because it's complicated don't mean that you can't get it done. You just need the legal expertise to take the time, pay the legal expertise, and get it done. It is complicated. That's why you need a lawyer to make sure it's done correctly. But it's not undoable. And that's the point I think you're trying to make, Bob.
Yeah, and I forgot we were talking about estate planning. I'm sorry. I was just going on once again about financial planning. But estate planning, you really should have a legal person. Excuse me. I got ahead of myself. But though, another misconception, and we talked about this. You talked about it a little earlier. I can set my financial plan and forget it. Now, the common mindset among investors and savers is that once they create a financial plan, they're done. Though, when I was working for the Acacia Group, which was a stockbroker and investment advisor, one of my first clients was a Washington Redskin, young guy. This is 85. He was making $30,000 a year. And back then you could live off of that, but he was living on $25,000 of it. I did his financial plan, and he took it and put it in the drawer. And things changed. And can you imagine $30,000 and each year went up? Things got costly. So, you know, so a lot of people think that you can feel, and it will automatically, you know, I don't know, go up or work. But no, there's the impact of life circumstance. The truth is life is dynamic, and work when you create your financial plan may not work today. You may get married, have a baby, or get a raise, or of which impacts your finances, your goals, and your plan. Financial plans should be subject to regular review, particularly when things in your life change. Now, you know, the things that come wrong, if you set it and forget it, your portfolio may veer off course. You know, life circumstances change, tax laws change constantly too, and are regularly updated. Investment maximums and minimums change over time also. Investment options change, and even your own tax bracket may adjust over time. So a good financial plan is a marvelous living and breathing thing that needs to be evolved with you over time. That's, as we always do, Dope. That's quite a bit there. But okay, let me see here what Modestine got here. Modestine says, my husband had long-term insurance inflation adjusted, which was a blessing when he became ill. Yes, and that, Modestine, I guarantee you, and put it here for us, that was one of them early ones too, by the way. It sounded like too, that it was adjustment for inflation, because there's not too many of them nowadays. And if you do, they really, really, really cost. So Dope. That brings us to the end of this show. And we talked about a lot. So let's give our summary and takeaways from the day, because we know that's a lot of information. And remember, y'all, you can always go back out and catch the show both on YouTube and Facebook. So, Dope, if I'm right, it's on you.
It's on me. And the first one is don't build your plan on myths. Okay, that's going to be that proverbial house of wood. Build your plan on solid financial concepts, a budget, a plan, low debt, accumulating assets, not based on myths or rules of thumb. You know, do the work, create a plan that's going to work for you.
The other one, and we cannot stress it enough, one size does not fit all. your circumstances, your life circumstances are always changing. So make sure, just don't listen to other people. I mean, look in general for listen to them if they're giving good advice, but make sure you apply it to you. There's an old saying that says, God cuts your suit to fit you. One size does not fit all in financial planning, and you must make sure you look at all the things that may affect your goals, your plan, your money.
Yeah. Next is maximize earnings, minimize debt. And that should really play a part in every financial transaction you make. Every financial transaction you make, you should try to maximize your earnings, whether it's negotiating something that you're buying or using credit cards to make sure somebody's paying you for what you're buying, making sure you pay attention to your due dates so you don't pay late fees and so you aren't paying interest. And everything you do, you should look to maximize your earnings, minimize your debt.
No, this next one's a little near and dear to me. Just as you can't buy a pair of pants when you're 20 and expect to still be wearing them at age 70, you got to plan to get old. And I know some of us are very youthful beyond our age, but you have to look ahead and kind to sort of you strategize. What your finances is going to look at 70, even 80, or even 90, because we live in longer, and you're going to get old. So you must take the time and look at those things that may affect you as you get older. Because like I said, if you're not investing, there's a chance that you're going to outlive your money.
Hey, Bob, just a kind of a sidelight to that. I was in New Jersey having lunch with my daughter and a couple of her buddies, and they're all young, but they're all at the point where my kids aren't very young no more. They're in their, all in their 30s. And they were talking about not working out. And I just looked at them and I said, getting old is hard. It's difficult. And it's even harder if you're not in shape. And that goes for your physical well-being as well as your financial well-being.
You got to do something, though.
It's hard getting old, period. But if you aren't in shape, it's got to be unbelievably hard. So
right.
I can't ever tell you it's going to be easy. But if you aren't working on your finance, if you aren't working on your health, getting old is not going to be fun for you. So the final one is financial.
Thank you, the Grim Reaper.
Hey, that's the truth. You can believe it or not. If you ain't, as you get old and you're not in shape, getting old is harder than it should be.
No, that's my biggest fear. I want to have two personal goals. I don't want to be old and broke, and I don't want to be old and broke up.
There you go. And finally, financial planning is essential. You as you said at the beginning of this, you can't build your plan on myths. But by the same token, you have to do some financial planning in order to be successful. You got to know where your money's going. You got to know where it's coming in. You got to make sure you're making as much as you can. You're controlling your debt. You have to have a plan in order to be successful. If you don't have a plan, you're just going to end up someplace, and it may not be where you want to be.
True that, and I hope this was helpful information. Now, a lot of y'all didn't write anything in the comment box, so I feel everybody's okay. And let's do roll call. Garnett, how you doing, dear? So glad you're with us. My wonderful sister, Gloria. Joanne Skinner, you know you are always a winner. Now, Edwards Doty, what's up now? Thank you for always being here and supporting us. Rodney L. Madison, Senior, TheNoteExperience.com. Go out there, y'all, and look at other ways to invest, because that's a nice tool. We're going to have Rodney on talk about mortgage notes. My wonderful sister, Nolia. How are you doing, darling? And Linda Sy. So good. That's my sister, Linda Kinzer Sy.
Who had the birthday?
Huh?
Who Who had the birthday last week?
Linda had the birthday.
How was it?
She was years old.
How did she have a good time?
We had lunch together with her. I had lunch with her, Nolia, Gloria, and Linda. And let me tell you, oh boy, they are something at their age. I love my sisters.
Don't be letting out no family secrets.
No family secrets. They're not cougars. They're wonderful mountain lions. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, keep going before you get in trouble.
Look, I know they're gonna be talking about. Don't even try it, y'all. I can hear you now, Linda. Stop it. So, and then, oh man, what's up, Yvette, my niece? And look, dope. Now she gonna get me on this. I still, you as Bun Bun. So good to see you, Yvette. That's my niece, my brother's daughter. Hey, and look, this is a stalwart. Cole Chapman, Colton. What's up, my little brother? What's up, man? So glad you're on with us. And down there in Lexington, South Carolina, not Kentucky, Modestine is down there. And glad to see you, Modestine. And just like to thank everybody for tuning in. And we're here every week. Note the quote of the week. I'm always searching to impress you, Dope, and it's hard. Let me tell you, it's like financial planning. Ships don't sink because of the water, and this is for the day environment. Ships don't sink because the water around them. They sink because the water they get in them. So don't let what's happening around you get inside you and weigh you down.
I like that. That's okay.
Hard to impress you.
That don't make up for some of the bombs, but that's a good one.
Thank you all. Forget you, though. Thank you all for tuning in. We're here every week, every Thursday. I'm gonna try to be with you when I'm in Scotland, though. That one Thursday, I'm gonna be in Scotland.
Next week?
No, week after next.
Okay, I'll be in Jersey. No, I'll be back. I'll be in Jersey next week.
Oh, next week. No, the week after next. So I'm hoping I can get on, y'all. I should be able. There should be no problem. But
it'll be like 2 in the morning.
It will. Oh, yeah, you're right. But I'll be calling from Bonnie, Scotland. I say the old buddy, bloody gut, lumber cot. Okay, you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And Nolia, Gloria, and Linda, don't y'all be talking about me behind my back. I can hear you. Y'all have a good day, y'all. Love y'all. See you next week.